All right, welcome to Wholesaling the Cool Way. I'm Jasper Cool here with Mark Cool, my dad. And on this podcast, we share our real world insights, tools, and strategies to help you succeed in your real estate investing business. So you'll get both of our perspectives on our respective businesses. We're both based in North Carolina, and we're both wholesaling houses, vacant land, and we do that with our team of virtual assistants and ourselves. So appreciate everyone who's left comments over the last few episodes. We're going to get to those at the end of this episode, so stick around for that, and we'll address any new questions or comments or anything that have come in. And yeah, feel free to keep leaving any questions or comments or anything you want us to touch on, and we'll be happy to go over those. So usually we kick off with inspiration and education. So do you have anything, any books or podcasts that you want to share?
Yeah, thanks for that intro. That was great. And I echo Jasper's sentiments. It's been really great to get more comments and more conversation going on the YouTube channel. So definitely let us know how we can help and what we can cover next. We really like that. Um, yeah. So not to be a broken record, but I think I'll keep it brief. But both Jasper and I check in about Alex Hormozy a lot, but he's creating a lot of content and bringing a lot of value, and it's always at the top of my feed. So a lot of times I'm checking him out. But I'll just do two quick takeaways from Alex Hormozy that were fun this week. Uh, one was a short video that he posted. I don't know if you saw this, Jasper, but he's talking about free money, and if you're a business that sells anything retail, um, I can't remember the stat now. I didn't write it down here on my notes, but something like 69% of gift cards are redeemed every year. So basically, you're talking about 20 or 30% of free money if you're selling gift cards because those are never redeemed.
Yeah.
So people are buying them and you're keeping the money. So it's funny that he shared that because it's just a really interesting loophole in money making. And then the other one was one I've heard before, but it was good reinforcement that I took. I think I watched one of the pods you've recommended, Jasper, recently from him. But one of the ones I was listening to from him, he talks about this is a good one for building your business. And if you're thinking about building out a team, which Jasper and I have been doing for the last few years, is the 3Ds. And that's document, demonstrate, and duplicate for your team so that you can replace yourself and you never are the person answering questions. So I really like that approach. And he just goes over it and whatever. I can't remember where I listened to it, but um, just every process you do that you don't like doing or that it's repetitive or you don't see yourself doing in the future, document it as thoroughly as you can. We've talked about this on the podcast. Now Loom has an AI feature where you make a little video and it'll do an SOP document for you, so easy, with a link to the video. And then the next one is demonstrate, which he says get the person side by side and demonstrate it, do the process with them so they really have it, and then have them duplicate it in front of you and make sure they've got it. And then you're off to the races because you don't ever have to do that process again. So I like that one. And then I'll just do one other quick shout out. And this is a different category. We're looking at building this podcast and building this channel and stuff. And so I'm looking at creators in that space. And this one guy, Dan Coe, I had just discovered him this week, but I really like his content. It's Dan Coe, Koe, and he had a video, sort of a longer form video that I watched called The One Person Business. And he really just breaks down in nuts and bolts how to be your own business based on what you have to offer the world. Just find one thing that you're good at that you can teach others. You don't have to be the greatest expert in the world. You just have to be better than or know more than a lot of other people who want to get good in the thing you're good at. And then he just breaks down the nuts and bolts of how platforms and tools and structure of how to do it very simply and very in a user-friendly way. And he's got a bunch of content around that. But his one of his big things is the one person business. And I think it's a really cool concept. So I want to shout that out. And that's what I've got for this week.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that 3D that you shared. That's definitely something
Yeah.
I've been working on this week, going over Zoom with Giselle, my new hire, and it's been awesome.
So
Just
important. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
important to, if you ever want to grow your business, you have to get people to do jobs that are repetitive or that you don't want to do or that are below your pay grade. Like we talked about, Jasper, you and I talked about this week, I think, about how you value your time, or maybe we talked about it last week offline, but if Naval Ravikant was like, when I was coming up, I valued my time at $5,000 an hour, so I never did anything. I paid somebody to do everything. But even if
Yeah.
you want to start off with a mindset of I'm valuing my time at $100 an hour, anything you could pay somebody less than $100 an hour and you can afford to pay them, then need to get that off your plate right away.
Hmm. Definitely. Yeah, that's a great reminder for me. So for me this week, I didn't really watch and listen to it as much as usual. I was kind of a busy week, like I said, training Giselle, working in the business, trying to put out some more content myself. So yeah, but it's been a good week. But one thing I did want to share is that I had the chance to sit in, or I guess be a part of a Zoom call with Investor Base this week, and that was really fun. And so I thought it was gonna be much bigger. It was just like I think it was like six of us in total. But
Oh,
we were on there
wow.
with Daniel, the founder, and then his I didn't know he had a co-founder, but he's got like a technical co-founder. And so that guy is actually, building all the software and stuff. And so it was really cool. They were just demoing a new feature they're gonna roll out. And so I guess I'll share a teaser because I think it's coming out pretty soon. But basically, they're just adding more comps and stuff, and it's called investor comps. And so when you search address, there'll be a little button that says investor comps, and you just click it, and it shows the top five like investors that are kind of setting the comps for your specific deal. So that's pretty cool. And then it's also going to show a graph for every deal that you search up. It's going to show a graph of the last 12 months and kind of the average sale price. And there's going to be two different colors. And so there'll be an average sale price for buy and hold buyers, an average sale price for flippers. And you'll see it in a bar graph to see whether your specific neighborhood or market or city is kind of going up or down over the last 12 months. So that's super
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. And then in addition to that, they'll just have like a small box off to the right of it that says the average sale price in this area, and it just kind of gives a swinging range. And then same thing for average price per square foot. So whether you're looking at one of those two metrics, it'll have those all there at a glance. So that was pretty cool. And it was just cool to see that they're open to taking feedback like that. And it was those guys, like I said, and it was me and those three other dudes, like three other investors. And so we were just kind of sharing feedback and stuff. I shared one thing with them that I hope they'll add, but well, actually, I think two things. But one is that like when we click on a buyer, it would be nice to see all of their past flips. Maybe not all of them if they're doing hundreds, but maybe like their most recent 5 or 10 deals, so we could see
Yeah.
like what percentage of ARV these particular buyers are buying at, and then also maybe see an
That's a great
example of
point.
some of
Yeah.
the deals they've done, so we can see, okay, maybe they take on big jobs, maybe they take on like smaller jobs, or like what properties buyers like. So he said that they're going to work on that, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was just inspiring to see like someone else building a business in real time, because like we always talk about our wholesaling businesses, but this is kind of a totally different thing. Like it's a software business. And that's something I'm really interested in. So it was kind of cool just to see that. And I think he's probably inspired like all of us by Hermosi. And that's one of the things Hermosi always says, which is like just talk to your customers and they'll tell you exactly how to build your product. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
cool that they're doing that. Because I know a lot of companies, don't do that. So it's cool that he's doing that. But yeah, I think that's the main thing for me this week. I don't know if I had anything else that really stood out for me. But definitely, just before we hopped on, you were showing me that short thing. And what's the name of that in case
Yeah.
anyone's interested?
It's called Submagic. It's an AI tool for creating shorts from long form content. So you can upload a video and it will use AI to try and determine which moments in the video could be viral, and then it'll edit a snippet for you from 30 to 60-second snippet to use as a YouTube short. Pretty cool. There are a few of them, but that's the one I'm playing with right now. It's called Submagic.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was so cool. So that was definitely inspiring to me. All the stuff that I'm seeing with AI is just incredible. And I
Yeah.
saw a couple things this week. I don't want to share it because they don't seem like they're too far along yet. But you and I were just talking about this, I think, offline last week. And these are two tools that are hopefully going to be like comping tools, like evaluation tools for property. And so again, I just did some research into them, and they're not like ready right now, but they do seem like they're on the way there. So that's pretty cool. So once they start working, then I'll share it on the podcast. But right now, they kind of early stages. But that's still cool that people are working on that, and AI will help us with comping soon too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's going to
Um,
save a lot of work.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, so awesome. Well, now that we've covered that, we are going to dive into our business check-in. So kind of how each of our businesses are performing over the past week and any tips or tricks or maybe stories that we wanted to share from the past week in business. So you want to kick us off with that?
Yeah, I think my big thing in business right now is acquisitions, and it's been a challenge for us, or a bottleneck, as you've mentioned, Jasper. That again, our guru Alex Hormozy talks about, like there's usually one main point of pain or bottleneck, and that's been it for us. Is just like the balancing lead generation and the closing, and having really, I've needed to have a person in place who can really close contracts from our offers, and haven't had that, and so then it ends up being me, and I don't have time to do that full time. We have a person on board who's good at it, but she's also doing analysis and managing lists and other things. So um, anyway, we had an interview this week, and my operations guy and I interviewed this guy, and we're like, well, he's got a lot of good experience, and he talks the talk. And then we had our acquisitions team, our SMS guy, and our lead manager interview him on a separate interview, and they're like, "No way." So it's funny, and I kind of had some hesitation about him too, but I was like, "Well, give him a trial." So anyway, that's my big challenge is like there's a catch 22 of lead generation and getting contracts, right? Because if you it costs money to generate leads in general. Like we talk about methods here, where if you're starting out, you can do stuff really cheaply, but to do it to scale, you have to spend money. And then, if you're going to spend money on marketing, you need to have money coming in from closed deals. But if you're not maximizing your leads and getting the contracts and selling and closing the deals, then you're kind of stuck in a loop that I've been stuck in. So that's been frustrating for me. So my big thrust is hiring. We've been posting to Online Jobs PH, to Upwork, and then to some groups on Facebook, and that my operations guy, has posted on before with other companies. And so we'll be interviewing more people next week. But and then Jasper, you did refer me somebody that you've interviewed previously, so I'm going to meet with her. So that's our big challenge right now. So I think part of this podcast is sharing the journey, not just like the wins and, oh, look at us closing deals, and some people do like, here's a check and all that stuff. But it's like, man, it's a challenge to grow a team. Or even this, like it's been a loop that's kept me from going to the next level for a while. You know, I mean, I hired a guy in October and he didn't work out, so that was kind of a setback. And
Mhm.
then, like I said, it sucks me back into the business, which we just talked about the 3Ds. I'm not supposed to be in the business closing and doing follow-ups on offers. That's taking me away from growing the business. Um, so I'll shift gears and look at KPIs a little bit. I didn't do notes prior to the podcast, so I'm doing this on the fly. And in our Slack, we have a thread called contracts, so I can just go in there at a glance, and I can see that we got two contracts this week. We got one on a 9-acre property in Robeson County, and we've already got some leads on that. And then we got
Nice.
another one, a vacant house. So
Oh,
that's
that's
two
great.
contracts a week. Yeah, and if I jump on Podio, I could probably grab the lead sources really quickly. Let's see what we got for. I don't think we didn't sell anything this week. No, we've had a little bit. It's been a little bit slow for the reason I mentioned, because we didn't have a closer really doing the closing job. So we haven't had enough for Dispo to sell right now. We
Yeah.
didn't close anything this week. We've got a couple of things in escrow, but we closed two last week and none this week. And then I don't know what else I have. I can look these up, but it might take me a second to pull these two that we got under contract. So maybe we don't want, that's probably not good podcasting to have dead time. But why don't we
That's
go ahead
okay.
and do yours, Jasper, and I'll go back and see if there's anything interesting about these um, while you check in about your business.
Okay, you want to just switch over?
Yeah, let's just switch over, and I'll see if I can pull up these two really quickly rather than have dead time.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so I'll just check in on my KPIs first, and then I do have a couple kind of stories I want to share with you and anyone listening. Um,
Good.
but yeah, so for this week, just at a glance, KPIs, weekly leads. So leads for this week were 62. We put out 185 offers, and those are verbal offers. I think we track offers differently, but those are just offers that we're making to people verbally. And then we
Oh,
did
okay.
get four contracts signed, and sold 2 deals and closed 2 deals. So that's just our
Wow.
KPIs at a glance.
Sold to and close to. That's huge.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so a couple of things I wanted to touch in on that, with you and anyone who's listening. First is the weekly leads, 62. And so last year we were getting a lot of leads every week and every month. And so if I look back to like October, for example, 640 leads in 1 month for us. And so I don't know what that breaks down to, but I think it's like 120, 130 a week. And now we're about half that, and we're still getting contracts. And so I'm very happy with that. That's exactly the trend that I'm hoping for in 2025 is fewer leads, more quality leads, and still getting
Like
the same
quality over
amount.
quantity. Yeah.
Yep. Quality over quantity is literally like our motto. I told the team that before 2025, like in our year-end meeting, I was like, that's our motto for 2025.
We're
Quality
doing the
leads,
same thing.
quality
Yep.
contracts, like everything, because we don't want to just get whatever, let's say 100 contracts this year and close 50. No, we want to get 100 contracts and close 90, right? Like we want to focus on
Exactly.
quality over quantity. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. I've actually seen the leads like weekly trending down, week over week. And normally that'd be something to be like discouraged about, but because our contracts are still getting signed, I'm really happy with it. So it's awesome. Um, and so yeah, I just wanted to share that. That's the way that I'm hoping to trend towards even more, going forward. We're definitely implementing a lot of inbound strategies. And for me, I don't plan to stop texting anytime soon. So if anyone who's listening is interested in texting, I'm still happy to share what's working for us there. It's still working very well for us, so I don't plan to stop it anytime soon. I could
Same
probably,
here. Yeah.
yeah, I could probably do, again, we don't want to just waste time here. I could probably tell you guys exactly how many contracts from this month came from texting, but maybe I'll pull that up later. Um, but I think I would say it's at least half of our contracts this month are still coming from texting, even with these inbound strategies. So it's still working very well
Yeah.
for us. But yeah, so then as far as our deals sold this week, we had 2 deals sold. So the first one was great because this was a buyer that we recently found on investor base, and I think I shared this a couple weeks ago. But we had a deal where we sent out in Cumberland County, North Carolina. It's a pretty hot county in our market, and we were getting a bunch of offers at 175. And long story short, we found this buyer come in and pay 190. And so that was like a 15K spread between our lowest and our best offer. And this dude was from investor base. And funny enough, we closed that deal this week. So I think we literally sold it on Tuesday of not this past week, but the week prior. And then we closed it on Thursday of this week. So that's a great buyer, all cash buyer. He's ready to
Yeah.
close ASAP. And so super excited to find him. And so then this
And
this
good
week,
attorney too.
yeah, yeah. And
Or at least,
there was no title issues on this deal, which is so nice when that happens. It's like, it feels like that almost never happens to me anymore. I mean, knock on wood, I'm hoping for more of those, but it's really
yeah.
nice when there's no title issues, no liens, no like random thing popping
Yeah.
up. Sometimes it feels like you're playing whack-a-mole with some of these deals in escrow,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, all around it, that was a smooth deal. And now we have this guy, in our network. And so it was a very similar scenario on this deal. Like I sent it out, there's a lot of interest, but all the offers were coming in below our contract price. And this buyer came in below our asking price, but still, a good profit for us. And I don't remember the disparity here, but I think he was again like $10,000 higher than our next best offer.
Wow.
And so it was just a huge win for me to find this guy. And again, shout out to Investor Base, it's where we originally found him. But now he's pretty much going to be my go-to in Cumberland County. I mean, he's
Yeah.
paying more than everyone else, and he's closing
And he's
like
in a buying mood.
yeah, he's closing quickly. They're cash buyers, which is amazing. I love when there's no lender involved too. And so yeah, super excited about that. But just wanted to share that because we've mentioned it on every show, I think, but Investor Base is really working well for us. And not just that, but I've noticed just overall, I think maybe starting early to mid-December, I've noticed the North Carolina market's picking up. So hopefully that's the case for everyone else around the country too. But it seems like going into 2025, the real estate market's definitely people are more optimistic about it, I would say. Um, so yeah, there's that one. And then the other deal we sold this week was like a fail and a victory all at once. So that was awesome. But we had this deal. I think we contracted this one way back in October last year, and there was title issues. So there's an estate that we had to work through. And so we finally got clear title earlier this month, which was awesome. And so we were hoping to close that like first or second week in February. And then the buyer reached out to me this week, and he was like, my lender like changed their mind, like they're not going to lend on this one. I was like, okay. So I referred him to a few lenders that I know, and he called him up, and he was like, well, they're not going to lend on it either. I was like, oh, nice. And so he backed out. This one's in Rougemont, Dad. So it's not like in the middle of nowhere, but it is a little bit rural.
Yeah.
And so I understand, and it needs a lot of work. You know, it's pretty rough property, but so he backed out, and so like I updated Giselle. I was like, okay, you know, this guy backed out, and kind of walked her through the process for what we do. You know, when the buyer backs out, and so then she's still not marketing. We're probably going to jump into that next week, but I'm still doing dispo. And so I just kind of walked her through the process, and then we remarketed the property back out. And I think, like I said, it was just the market is a little bit hotter now than it might have been last year. And I was just getting a bunch of interest in this deal. And so we ended up actually selling it for just a little bit more, just $1,000 more, but sold it for more than what we originally sold it for to this other dude.
That's great.
So make an extra $1,000 and save the deal, and we're still closing. The buyer is able to close on the same date, early February, so it's great. So overall, as a win. At first, I thought it was going to be a major fail because same thing. Like I've noticed a disparity between offers more. Like I don't know why, but like we were having offers on this property like in the 80s and 90s, and we sold it for 103. So there was like a bunch of disparity in between these offers. Like some buyers are just super low, and then I did have another dude at 100. So it's like it's kind of weird there, but either way, it was a win because, like I said, we sold it for a little bit more, $1,000 more than initially. So that's a win, and we can still close it in February. So that was awesome. Um, but yeah, I guess the lesson there is just to always continue building your buyers list, and then you won't be I guess what the saying is, but you won't be like SOL when someone backs out on you on a deal.
Yeah.
You can just resell it. So yeah,
Over a
but
barrel.
yeah, over a barrel. Yeah, that's a good one. That's what I was looking for. Um, but I think that's pretty much it for my week. I think that's about it. So
I can pop back in with a couple of things.
yeah.
Thanks for checking in. It's good stuff. I pulled up those 2 while you were first talking, so I can give a little bit of detail on the 2 that we got under contract this week. And, I had a funny story. I don't know how funny this is for everybody, but brief for you, Jasper. This one guy is a big talker, and I'm doing closing. I'm following up on offers and stuff. And so this guy's a big talker. I spent like 15 minutes on the phone with him, la 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 la, walking through all the points on the sales agreement and like handling objection for every single one. Well, just curious. It's like I'm just curious about this. I'm just curious about that. But he objected to every single point on the sales agreement except for the price. He didn't object for the price. And so then at the end of the day, he wanted me to make all these changes, and I'm like, fine, yeah. He wanted to be catered to, right? He wanted the valet experience.
Hmm.
I'm gonna customize this agreement just for you and just make it special. And and could you extend the date to sign and all these things. And so I did that, and he was gonna sign the day after the holiday, the Martin Luther King holiday. But one of the big selling points, and he made a huge point of it for me, and this might be good for people listening, is just like the reason I'm going with you, not all the other people that I've talked to, is because you're based there in North Carolina and you're in this area and you could drive to this property. And and he tested me. He asked me if I knew the name of the barbecue place off the exit here in Efland. And I was like, oh yeah, Missy's. And he was like, oh yeah, no, so that was a big thing for him. So if you are wholesaling and you can, or it works for you to wholesale in your own market, it is a leverage point for people. We use it all the time when we're dealing with sellers, is like, well, those other offers, are those guys based in North Carolina? Because we're North Carolina based, we're right here. And it does help. So if you are in your market, use that as a leverage point of like, yeah, I'm here in Ohio, right next to you, and use landmarks. Other people talk about this, right? Like Matt Larson does this. He'll look at the person's zip code and pull up what's near them and be like, oh, have you been to this restaurant, or have you been to that lately, or whatever? I've been there, that kind of thing. It really helps you build rapport, especially in today's world where we're talking, most of these sellers are talking to 5 or 6 wholesalers at a time. So I guess that was the point of that story, is just kind of the guy was a character, but just a fun story about that, and a good thing to take note of. And then so the 2 contracts that we got, one was, I wanted to mention these because there's a couple of things in here. The 9 acres was a piece of vacant land, and uh, we got that from SMS, which you're just talking about, Jasper. And 75 to 90% of our deals right now are from SMS. We still have some cold calling and direct mail and other leads coming through, but we're doing a ton on SMS. So that was a 9-acre property. And this one did have some they're like 5 siblings that need to sign, as there often are on these bigger acreages. But the guy that my acquisitions person talked to assured her that everyone is ready to sign and willing to sign, and I think she got everybody's signatures on the contract, so we're moving forward. But we'll, like, fingers crossed that we'll see what we have to do, to get everything ready to close. We have a bunch of buyers already interested, so that's great. And then the other one I wanted to mention, because what's significant about that is that it is a property leads lead, and we started property leads 2 weeks
Nice.
ago, and we have a contract on a house at a good price from property leads. So I think we've gotten about a dozen leads from them so far, and then we've requested refunds on 4 of those, and they've given us a refund really quickly because it was within their parameters of why you can get a refund, listed on the MLS or seller not selling, whatever, or not. You haven't gotten through to them after like 12 calls or something. But
Hmm.
anyway, we got this lead on the 10th of January, and we got the contract this week on the 20th. So 10 days after getting the lead, we got it under contract. And that's people have been asking us in the comments a little bit, and we've been talking a little bit more about pay-per lead sources. So this one so far, so good for us. Uh, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and one other thing I was going to mention, just shout out to you, Jasper, because you talked about your new person, Giselle. She came on board and moved to closing up to an earlier date, right?
Hmm.
Not the one you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, so then we got word from our buyer on this one deal that we got the perk test is back and he's good to go. So I just like reached out to the attorney and I was like, hey, can we move this up? So
Yeah.
I don't always think about it. Like sometimes I think about it, but it was just fresh in my mind. So we moved the closing up like 2 weeks, I think, because the perk test was in, and we were like, oh, when's your next date? So we moved it up. So
Yeah. That's
grateful
awesome.
for that. I was trying to get it closed in January because I wanted to get another deal for this month for our team's happiness and for starting off the year strong. But the lawyer said they didn't have a date until February 3rd, which was kind of annoying to me.
Yeah,
But
that seems
anyway,
weird.
yeah, I mean, usually when you ask a lawyer to rush something, they'll be like, "Yeah, can you do it day after tomorrow?" And
Yeah.
this attorney is like, "Yeah, we can do it February 3rd." I'm like, "February, is that the earliest you have?" "Yeah, it's the earliest we can
Yeah.
do it." I don't know if it was because it's an in-person closing and maybe it's different if it's virtual for them, but the seller's coming in person, so maybe that's why. If I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I was annoyed that they weren't saying, "Yeah, we can do it, later this week or early next week." They were like, "Yeah, a week
Yeah.
and a half or 2 weeks or whatever." That seems like a long wait to me. So anyway, that I just wanted to pop back in with those various business check-in pieces, and
Yeah.
that's
Thank
all.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we had a similar experience with the one that Giselle moved up actually, where they did move it up a week, so kudos to them. But they moved it up a week, so we closed on the 24th of this week. And the docs, the attorney sent the seller the docs on Friday, like the closing docs, and he literally signed them and dropped them off at their office Monday. And so then when that happened, Giselle followed up with her and she was like, I know you got the docs, the buyer's cash, he's ready to wire, today. Could we just go ahead and close? And she's like, oh no, like we're closing on the 24th. And I was like, but like everyone's ready to close now. She's like we're not. So maybe they just have so much going on, but like you and I, now that we use our own recording platform sometimes, it takes a click of a button to do this closing, so it's like once everything's in, it was kind of weird for me also. So I kind of related to the
Yeah.
same situation, but I guess they just have to follow certain rules, maybe. I don't know. Well,
Yeah, or maybe they have a queue. Maybe they line everybody up in a queue. Who knows? I mean, the thing is
yeah,
about a queue, and maybe I'm being a jerk about this, but I was talking to Derek about this, my brother, who's a partner in my business, and um, it's like if we're doing 40 deals a year with somebody, we should be at the top of the queue, you know,
yeah,
unless somebody's doing 100 deals, because it's like,
right, yeah,
because if you're doing 40 deals with an attorney in a year, roughly, 30, 40, it doesn't matter. 40 deals times what, $1,200 is 50K that they're making off you that year.
yeah,
Maybe they have bigger clients that are doing more deals than us. Maybe I'm just being a jerk, and they've got people who are doing 100 deals with them, or 200. Probably Chris Papadopoulos, right? Hope he
yeah, for
doesn't
sure,
mind his name being dropped, but he's an investor in our market who does like over 100 deals probably every year, right?
for sure,
Um,
yeah,
so maybe they've got, more. Maybe I think I'm a big fish, but I'm a little fish.
yeah,
All
Yeah,
right.
it's definitely interesting, but we'll move on. I mean, we're very grateful for our attorneys. It was interesting to me to
Yeah.
notice that. But yeah, to piggyback off you, I have one other thing I forgot to share that I want to share with you. Um, I think I just kind of got lucky, but I did have an inbound lead come in from my Google PPC, like not from the paper lead, but from the actual PPC source. And so he called in and I was able to take the call live, so I just took it and I was able to get the deal just all on one call. And so
Wow.
that was kind of fun. And like that was my first experience ever doing that. I haven't been in acquisitions for a long time, but like when I was in acquisitions, it was on cold call leads. So just total different experience. And so yeah, it was just so interesting. Like I wouldn't say he was a lay down, but he was very motivated. So it's like it's not like I did too much on the call, but we talked for like maybe 30, 40 minutes and really nice guy. And he's gonna, travel the country in an RV. He's already got his dually truck, he's already got the camper hooked up to, he's ready to roll. And so he was a really nice guy. Like it was a fairly easy like close, per se. But it was still fun to like do that whole thing, get to know him a little bit, went through negotiation a little bit on the phone. And then I used a strategy that I heard on a pod. I think it was Eric Klein that I first heard the strategy from. And because like I was literally talking to him, and so I was like, well, shoot, like I haven't got a chance to run my numbers really, so I put him on hold. And when he told me his price, like I gave him kind of a range, and then I was like, let me check real quick with my team, and I'll get back to you. So I put him on hold, and I checked all the comps and stuff, and then I came back to them with a definite offer, and then he accepted it. And so then I literally put him on hold one more time and drew up the DocuSign and I sent it to him. And so it was really like a fun experience, but it felt good like to get a contract just like that on the phone. And so
So he signed it in that time window too? Like you wrote up the DocuSign and then you sent it to him and then you did it on the phone with him?
yeah, all on the same call. So it was so fun to do it like that. So the DocuSign, it only took like 60 seconds. It's not like I was making him wait forever because we have templates and stuff. So I just plugged in his info and then sent it to him. But yeah, then we just walked over the contract together on the phone. And then some sellers, like you said, they'll literally line by line tear apart your contract. And this guy, like I said, he was very motivated and very easygoing guy. So he literally signed it before I finished even walking him through it. I got a notification he signed it. And I was like, wow. Um, so yeah, that was fun, and I hope for more leads like that to come in. Obviously, they're not all going to be that hot, but I have noticed with inbound leads they do seem to be more hot. And so far, since we launched our campaign, we are at 1 out of 11 in terms of contracts with our managed PPC thing. And then for the paper lead, I'm not getting quite as many leads. We have had a few contracts, but I'm not the top bidder in my counties and stuff, so I'm not getting all the leads that I probably could have with those. But for our ClicksGeek thing, that's the agency I'm using. If anyone's interested, it's called ClicksGeek. That one's working well. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I looked at ClicksGeek this week. I haven't gotten deep into it, but I jumped on there for a few minutes. I wanna revisit that.
Yeah, if you want, I'll send you the guy I work with. His name is Justin. He's like the manager. But I'll send you his information, his phone and email if you want to reach out to him. But also they launched a retargeting thing for me this week too, and so that was pretty awesome too. So only $20 per day additional. You can launch the retargeting thing, which I don't totally understand it, but I think it essentially just follows them around and shows them your ad again because they already clicked on your website.
If they've already looked at if they've lingered
Yeah,
on it or something, right? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think they'll probably give us even more leads. And it's only 20 bucks a day to do that. I mean, the regular PPC is expensive, but that's not expensive at all. So that's exciting. Um, so yeah.
So
But
if somebody's listening and they want to do an entry level PPC, what do you think the lowest budget they could set is and get results?
that's a great question. I mean, these guys do say that you can start with 3,000 to 3,500. I think that's the lowest they will take on. But he did tell me, candidly, that kind of the more you spend, the more it works in your favor, I guess, with Google. And so right now, I'm only spending 4,000 a month. I mean, it's not only; it's a good chunk of change. But he recommended more than that, and I was like, I don't want to, I kind of want to give it a chance first. And so far, like I said, it's been good. And so I'm literally only like 30 days into our campaign, but after 90 days, if we start, seeing some closings from these, obviously these are just contracts right now. We haven't closed any yet. But
Yeah.
if we start getting some closings, within 90 days, I'll probably bump that up at least 1,000 to 5,000 a month, and then maybe a little bit higher from there, just kind of gradually. But yeah, he did recommend 3,000 to 3,500 as a minimum spend. And I think it also is a bit market dependent. Like North Carolina is a fairly active real estate market. So I think
Yeah.
it may be a little bit higher in our market. Maybe if you're in like Indiana or Oklahoma or something, you could spend less. But if you're in like a maybe even a bigger like Florida or California, you probably need to spend more than that. So I think it's kind of a sliding scale, but I think you should expect to spend a few thousand a month at least.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's similar with direct mail. If you're entering direct mail, you really don't want to send out less than 3 or 4,000 pieces, or you're not going to get a true reading.
Hmm.
And then, somebody asked about that on YouTube on the comments, and I think you're spending 80 cents per piece, roughly on direct mail. So you're spending 3 to 4K, depending on how many you're sending out, or 2,500 is probably your minimum spend. But
Yeah.
so it's not an entry level strategy, but once you get some money coming in and close a few deals, these inbound leads are great because, as Jasper just described, you get somebody motivated, ready, they have your information, so they already have some kind of trust,
Hmm.
um, and it makes it a whole lot easier. It's a totally different conversation than a cold calling lead or an SMS lead, even when it's kind of warm, but they're still very, very cagey about it and not sure who you are, if
Hmm.
you're a scam or anything like that. But I mean, it can be true on these other ones. They're just warmer, in my experience, warmer leads.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, now that we've shared kind of our business check-in, what's working for us, we want to turn it around to questions and comments. So, do we have anything that we can go over on this episode?
Yeah, let me jump onto the dashboard here, and
All
I can go
right.
into the comments if I can find my way there quickly. Uh, Dashboard. Yeah, I was just here earlier today.
If you want, I could share something else while we're looking for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll share one more story, I guess, from a deal that we closed this week. Just a kind of a breakdown if anyone's interested. So this one I purchased what I like to call a no filter list. And so what that means is kind of when I run out of all the criteria like filters in a certain county, I'll just try to pull basically the whole county. And so for this one, my only criteria was square footage of less than or equal to 2,500. So I don't want any mansions in my list. And then years owned greater than or equal to 5. So that's people that have owned the home for 5 or more years. So that was the campaign I pulled for this particular deal. And I pulled this on April of 2024. And we closed the deal this month. So that's like, I don't know, I think 10 months later. And so we were following up with this person since December. They came into our system. And then we got a contract in January and closed in January. So that was just a quick breakdown on that. But this particular list, I shared the criteria because we've closed now 3 deals from this particular list. And it was a total list of 10,000 people. So not like a massive, massive list, but we got 3 deals out of it. So that's awesome. And yeah, just wanted to share that. So did that give you enough time to pull that up?
No, I was there earlier this morning, and now I can't figure out how to get the freaking comments.
Well, okay.
Uh, Still learning
Well,
how
that's
to use
okay.
the. I can go there a different way, but there was a aggregator of the comments that I found this morning that was easier than going into the. We want to jump on here because we had some good comments, so let's jump on here. Um, I'll just go episode by episode here.
Let's do it.
Um,
Yeah, I wonder if there's an AI tool that could just do that for you, like pull them all up.
yeah, well, there's a place in the dashboard here with YouTube too.
I think it's called because I've seen that before. I don't have many comments on mine, but I think it's called the community tab. I think all the comments pop up there.
Yeah,
Do you see that on yours at all?
manage videos. Yeah, I can't get there quick enough. All right, so we'll go to this one because if I go to the channel content, I can see it here.
Okay.
All right, so would love a video going over KPIs you track per team member, for example, leads per day expected from texter, cold caller, et cetera. And then how many of those leads do you send offers on? How offered? Sorry, that they didn't type in the word many, so I got confused there. Would love a video going over KPIs you track per team member. For example, leads per day expected from texter, cold caller, et cetera. And then how many of those leads do you send offers on? how many offers does it take per contract, etc. So I don't know if this is at your fingertips, Jasper. We could maybe ballpark it, touch on it a little bit.
I think I might have actually seen that one.
Yeah, I think
I-
you want me to read your reply here? There is a reply in here.
yeah, I could pull up that because I think I saw that one today and I left a message. But
Yeah, first of all, it's a great question, and maybe we just need to like prepare for it a little bit more for another podcast episode and just do a little segment on it rather than
Mhm.
try and do it on the fly because we do have to go through our Podio a little bit and pull stuff up. But here's what you said, Jasper. Great question. For me, with SMS, we send out 8,500 outbound texts per day, not including replies. I don't have a leads per day goal, but my texters get on average 10 to 15 leads per day. And then you said we offer on every single lead who answers the phone unless they tell us they're not interested, and then we follow up until they're ready. Offers per contract this year is at 34 leads per contract, but the year is still young. Last year was 50 leads per contract from text. I don't cold call anymore, but last year we got 8 to 10 cold call leads per day and converted at 73 leads per contract. That's a lot of leads per contract.
Yeah,
That's why you're
that's
not
why we
doing
stopped
cold
it.
calling. That's why Jasper's not doing cold calling anymore.
Yeah.
And so then I said, great question. As Jasper said, we're working on transitioning to quality metrics versus quantity metrics, better definitions of lead, offer, and contract. My view is that anyone can get a lead or a contract and that you can offer anyone anything if you're just trying to fill quotas. What
Mhm.
you focus on, you get more of. So we're focusing on quality. Uh, that said, our SMS guy sends between 1,500 and 2,000 SMS per day, and we get about 30 to 35 SMS leads per week on average. We're working on guidelines for acquisitions follow-ups, which we can check in more about. We've talked about this a little bit, I think, in prior episodes, acquisitions follow-up metrics. Maybe it's just offline. We've talked about it. And then we're phasing out cold calling in favor of other channels, which we've discussed also on recent episodes. Just we've talked about cold calling versus PPL, PPC, direct mail, all these things. When
Mhm.
we had cold calling services such as Rapid Assistance or Call Geeks, we were getting 20 or 25 leads per week per caller on roughly 500 dials a day. So 4 or 5 leads a day. And that's what I had for that. You have anything to add to that, Jasper?
I don't think so. Thank you for reading those. Yeah, I did share that earlier. So those numbers are accurate because I pulled that earlier from my CRM. But I will say those numbers for cold call was last year because I did quit it. But funny enough, we got 2 closed deals this or 2 contracts this month from cold calling. So I guess my
Yeah.
leads per contract would be down slightly with those two, but those numbers were from last year. So that's pretty much accurate with the cold call. So yeah, that's why we stopped it.
Yeah, it's funny. We had a similar thing. We canceled Call Geeks, as of December last year. So they finished out towards the end of December, and then we
Hmm.
came back to work after Christmas break, and there were like 30 leads from cold calling that they'd pushed towards the end of the thing. So I don't know what the result from those leads will be.
Yeah, so you
Uh,
might get some more cold call contracts soon.
so we got another one here from John. Excellent episode. Where did you find that caller to find buyers for you? Is he American? How much do you pay him? I did reply to this comment, but we can both reply briefly. In my business, my dispo specialist has it as part of his duties to add buyers every day. He's had a goal of adding 5 buyers a day for the last, for 2024, and he did really well at that. Again, we're working on quality over quantity, so we'd rather add 2 VIPs a week than 5 buyers in general. This guy for me is a Filipino VA team member, and he was referred to me from another Filipino team member. And then if you're hiring somebody to just add buyers and that's their only job, you could probably hire someone off Online Jobs PH for like $3 to $4 an hour, I would guess. You have anything on that, Jasper? Any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said sounds great to me. I don't personally have someone in that role right now. I'm definitely training Giselle to do that very soon. So she'll be same goal as you, trying to aim for 5 new buyers a day, verified solid buyers a day. So for me right now, I'm the one that's doing the dispo and stuff. And so basically I'm not doing that every day. I'm still doing a bunch of other stuff. So I just haven't made that a priority for myself to do 5 buyers a day. But every time I get a property, I do call through all of the buyers that show up in investor base. And sometimes it could be anywhere from 20 to 40 people. And so sometimes I'll get a bulk of new buyers that way when I do have a new deal. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
You're
But yeah,
calling all those buyers yourself?
yeah, I call all the buyers on investor base. Like I said, I mean, I'm kind of in between things right now, because when I had a recent team member that I let go, he was doing that, and then I let him go. So now I'm in the process of training Giselle to do that. So I'm doing it right
That's a
now.
lot of phone calls.
Yeah, but it's all good. I meet a lot of good
I
buyers
mean,
that way. I mean, like I shared earlier, that dude that was paying more than everyone else, that's well worth it. So
absolutely it is. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I should have my guy actually call some of these people on investor base. I think most of it's text right now that he's doing.
But yeah, it is a lot of calls. It is a lot of calls. I mean, sometimes it's more than others, right? Like in a hot area, you might get 40 buyers that you're calling. In maybe a more rural area, it might only show 10 people. So it's kind of depends.
All right, here's another one. I just started using investor base. I'm on the free trial and I use PropWire as well. I've closed a few deals before now, but I'm really trying to dial in and get my business consistent. I have a deal currently from an agent in North Carolina. Oh, I think we responded to this one too. It's a lot. Hopefully I'll close it. It's potential 10K fee. I'd love to connect with you guys on social media. So
Oh,
Jasper,
nice.
you're on Facebook. Uh, you're more on social media than I am right now. You're on Facebook and you're doing pretty frequent posting on there, right? So you're easy to connect with on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. So I appreciate his comment. And congratulations on that deal that he got. But yeah, on Facebook, my goal for this year is to post every single day. And so far,
Oh
so
wow.
good. So far, so good. But sometimes it's kind of a cop out on my end, I'll be honest, because I just might post like an inspirational quote or something. But I do want to make sure that I post every single day on Facebook. And so yeah, you can definitely find me there if you just look up my name. I don't know how to like do an at name or whatever on Facebook, but I do have an Instagram as well. And I think it's just connected to Facebook. So I know my Instagram at is my first and last name together, Jasper Cool, with an underscore at the end. So if you want to find me on Instagram, I think it'll just connect to Facebook anyways if you message me. So that'll be fine.
Cool. And for me, if you try and message me on Facebook, I usually have someone on my team managing my Facebook, so I'm rarely in the messenger on there. You can just message me on WhatsApp. I figured that out because I'm doing pickleball stuff on there, but I have Mark Cool, real simple on WhatsApp. And I am getting my website going too, so I can announce that later. But I think that for you can either message or comment on YouTube or message me on WhatsApp. Probably the best ways to reach me. And then we got one here, direct skip versus Versium. And then I've never heard of Versium, Jasper. Have you? At Versium?
Yeah, I saw that one and I meant to look it up, but no, I've never heard
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, we
So
commented on this on YouTube, but we'll touch on it briefly here. You wanted to start off with, and this is for skip tracing, not list pulling, but the questions about skip tracing.
yeah, I mean, I just pulled it up here so I can look at it, but it looks really cool. Their website looks cool. It looks like it's a kind of a list provider, and I'm just looking at it at a glance, but I don't know if they provide skip tracing. Just looking at it, it looks like it's more of a list provider. So cool. I appreciate the comment. I'll probably look at that and maybe even buy some data from them, check it out. But yeah, for me, so I guess I could kind of list all the tools that I'm currently using for that stuff. So right now, it's really just three main tools. I use direct skip for buying lists. I use direct skip to skip trace every single list I buy, no matter where it comes from. And so that's my favorite platform. And then I also use PropWire for some lists that direct skip doesn't have. And then I also use a company called List Source. So those are my three main ones. I did experiment with another company called Skipify, which is Matt Larson's company. I don't like hate it or love it. It's kind of neutral for me. And so that's why I'm not using it as like one of my main sources right now. But it does seem to have some cool data that the other ones don't have. So I could definitely check that out. And as far as that, those are like the main ones that I've really had experience with. Over the years, I've tried a few other sources, but those are the three ones that I kind of have always used over the years, really. So
Yeah, and we might as well mix this in because we had someone asking about PropWire and how many deals we've closed on PropWire. So I did a brief scan of my Podio on that, and all time I've closed 8 deals on PropWire and gotten 14 contracts. It's like 5 PropWire campaigns where we're sending a couple thousand SMS at a shot. So it works to close deals, PropWire data. And if you're starting out and you don't have a very big budget for marketing, PropWire is great. I mean, you're going to get deals from it. Obviously, I just shared, we've closed 8 deals. We haven't used PropWire in a while. We're not actively using it like Jasper is for those micro campaigns, but we use it once in a while. But mostly we've been using for skip tracing, we use direct skip. We like that because you can buy bulk tokens. So if you do have a little bit extra money to spend, you'll actually save yourself money because direct skip offers tokens in bulk. So we pay 6 cents per skip. And if you look at some of these competitors, especially if you're buying small batches of skips, you know, skips for listings for sellers, you can be paying 10, 11 cents per skip. That adds up really fast. So that's why we like direct skip. We also like their quality. They are endorsed by Matt Larson, who does a lot of split testing and different list sources. He likes what was the other one you mentioned? List Source. Matt Larson likes List Source. He likes direct skip, and then he has the company Skipify. We use Skipify also, and we've been sort of split testing them with direct skip, and Skipify seems to come out on top with quality so far. With a few months of sample size. They are, I think, more expensive maybe by a little bit, not by much though. I think it's pretty comparable. You might pay a lower upfront with one and then pay a lower per skip rate with the other or something. But I guess no, Skipify, you pay a higher upfront, but you get more free skips with that upfront fee. So it ends up balancing out. So you don't want to go with Skipify if you're just starting out and you don't have a big budget for skip tracing, because they're going to ask you for a big monthly fee. Direct skip is probably a little more friendly. I think it's like $300 and you get some free skips included in that. And then, but you don't even have to do the monthly. You can do as you go, pay as you go too. So,
Yeah.
And I haven't used Versium. I've never seen it before. That was the first I've heard of it. So yeah, I might take a look at it too, but it's not one of the ones in Matt Larson's top 5. And I tend to go by a lot of what he says because he's got so much experience. So Skipify, direct skip. And you have anything else to say about PropWire, Jasper? I know, you close deals off of PropWire.
Yeah, I would have to do, I like that you had the total number ready to roll. I'd have to do that, maybe come back for next week. But I closed 2 this week from PropWire, or 2 this month from PropWire. So
Nice.
there's that. It's fresh on my mind. But yeah, so one of them that I've shared many times on the podcast, I won't go over right now, but we pull a neighborhood list using PropWire only because, and if someone feel free to comment, only because I found that they're the only one that allows you to do that. I can't do it on direct skip, can't do it on list source, but on PropWire, I can literally draw a circle around the neighborhood and buy that data. So that's what we use it for. And this month we closed 1 deal using that strategy and 1 deal from another list that we got from PropWire. So yeah, so just in January 2 from PropWire, I would guess I'm somewhere close to you in terms of total lifetime PropWire deals, somewhere around 8 to 10 probably. But again, we're kind of just using it as a sniper approach. So we're not using it for broad, huge lists. We're just kind of doing the sniper approach with it. So yeah.
Yeah. And we have done the broad list and we've gotten those results. I didn't pull, like I just did a quick Podio search and pulled up like closed deals and stuff and contracts, but I could pull the total. If somebody's curious about it, I could pull the total amount of listings we've pulled from them to get those results, the leads and the offers and the contracts and the sold, closed, etc. If you're curious, just let us know in the comments. I think that's all the comments we had for this week, but thanks everybody for leaving them. It's great to dig in and talk with people about nuts and bolts of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for everyone for all the comments. And yeah, do you have any other quotes or anything you want to leave listeners with before we wrap up?
Any quotes?
Yeah, or just any other final parting words?
I think I had a quote that I screenshot from Alex Hormozy. This is kind of a good one. He's been doing the just text posts on YouTube too. Some winning leads to leveling up. Leveling up leads to harder opponents. Harder opponents leads to losing. Losing leads to learning. Learning leads to winning. Just depends on what part of the cycle you're in. I like that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great quote to end on. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to this episode. We hope you got some value and some takeaways from it. Feel free to leave any questions, comments, or anything at all in the comment section. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the next one.